about doing dynamic forms, and they were like, "Oh, that's a good idea." And
Hmm.
I was like, "Are you sure though?" Because I didn't really like think it would be something that people would care to want to see, because it's like,
Hmm.
oh, this was launched a while ago and it's been in custom objects for a while, but
Yeah.
sure enough, like it's not utilized the way that probably should be. So
No,
Yeah.
not
Well,
nearly
especially
as
with the
well.
launch on leads specifically, since that's such a heavily used field, it's so impactful. So
Oh,
letting
yep.
people
totally.
know about dynamic forms on that object specifically is like game changer.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I did an or having like an op, so I'm doing it on the op for just like sales,
I
like
love it.
UI UX, like delivering the right amount of fields and stuff like that for them.
Hmm.
But I mean, for me, it's, I don't know. I've done the quick action thing for a while, and then I wish some of the stuff that's available now was available way back when. So it's I'm a little bit of a geek on it, and I love it. So
Aren't we all though? Are we all geeks on that? So
I think this is
It's
the
uh,
only
kind
way
of
you
like
succeed in
it's a
this. Like,
prerequisite for getting this job.
I
You
know,
have to
yeah,
right?
be a little bit of a nerd.
That really is. Well, we're live, Jits. We're gonna get rolling. We've got man, we already got 24, 25 plus people in. People are still are rolling in, so we're gonna get things moving. But first off, most importantly, welcome to our panelists more than anything else, because we got a rock star crew up here that's ready to start blowing some folks' mind on all things Salesforce hacks and great ways to be really efficient. But more importantly, and just as important, welcome. Everybody's attending. I see a lot of familiar faces, names in the crowd. I can't wait to get heckled by our good friend Eric here in a few minutes. So I'm sure he will start lighting up the chat, no doubt. So, but again, welcome everyone. If this is your, oh hey Jackie, if this is your first shop talk,
Jackie. Oh my
welcome.
god.
You are in for a treat and very much in for a unique experience. But the main impetus for this webinar, along with all of our webinars, is we want to get back to the community. We want to make sure that everybody in WizOps and everybody in this greater Salesforce and operations ecosystem is able to learn, network, and grow. And man, do we have three great folks to help us do that. So I'm going to stop rambling and I'm going to let everybody introduce themselves. I'm going to pick on Trent first and let him kick us off.
Hey everybody, I'm Trent. A few of y'all already have the unfortunate knowing of me. I'm just kidding. So I work for Maxio. I'm probably the one here that isn't a consultant, but I do automations and systems. So BizOps and RevOps over at Maxio, which is a B2B subscriptions platform for SaaS companies to help with sales negotiation, contracting, usage, things like that. So pretty much like handle all that for you guys. Great tool. Used to be SaaS Optics charged by Maxio. And I'm just here to show some tips and tricks and some things we're doing.
I love it.
Glad to be here. Thanks for having me, Brad.
Of course, man. It's always a pleasure. I've known Trent for way too long now at this point, but especially every time we're up in New York together, we always get together and have a good time. So Trent, excited to have you here. Zach,
Thanks.
take us away.
Yeah. Well, Brad, thank you so much for having me. My name is Zach Stafford. I am the founder, principal consultant of Zach Fu Consulting. So I'm a one-man shop consulting. I work primarily with early stage companies, helping them with new Salesforce implementations, also the managed services that work with them afterwards, help with the handoff of the org, set them up for success as best as I can, hand it off to their new RevOps person that they hire at that stage, and fade into the background, kind of like Homer Simpson. But yeah, really happy to be here, Brad. Thank you so much for the invitation. Super excited to share some of what has been working for me.
I love it. I love it. Similar to Trent, Zach, I've known you for quite a long time. Also in my hometown-ish of Greenville, South Carolina. So I got to make it home to see some family soon and see you as well. But
Absolutely.
yeah, we'll do it. But last but certainly not least, Matt, introduce yourself and tell us a little about you.
Yeah, my name is Matt. I'm a senior RevOps architect at Admin Within. So we're a RevOps consultancy. We do Salesforce and RevOps consulting. And I'm really excited to powwow with the rest of the people on the panel. And Brad, your smiling face is always great to see. It's crazy. Every single time I talk with you, you're always smiling, and it makes me want to smile too. So glad to be here with the rest of you guys, and looking forward to the chat.
Totally. Hey man, life's too short to be sad. If you want to be sad, you're gonna be somewhere else. It's not gonna be
Yeah,
around me. So.
Yeah, that's just true.
I love it. Well, as always, we're going to have this highly interactive. I already see the chat blowing up, but just as important, I just opened up a poll for everybody. So we always like to see who's in our audience, what type of skill set you have. So of course, we made this poll very much about how much of a Salesforce hacker do you consider yourself? Newbie, intermediate, expert, ninja? I assume that Lopez has already hit ninja status, if not higher, which candidly, I got to watch Eric present at Snowforce a couple months ago. Actually, very much in that expert ninja status. So I'll give you that shout out. But I love this. We actually have some folks in the newbie side, the intermediate side, which I think now that we know what we're going to talk about, especially some of these most important Salesforce hacks that really help us become more efficient in our day-to-day jobs and for our businesses, this is a great audience to watch this. A lot of folks in the intermediate, some experts, some ninjas, some newbies. No doubt we're all going to learn something new. So I didn't tell any of our folks this. I get to pick who gets to go first. They're all waiting with bated breath. They have no clue what order we're going to go in. That's also the fun part about this. We get to throw a bunch of curveballs. So I'm actually going to pick on Zach first and let him tell us a little bit about some of the hacks that he's working on. So for the folks that are on this intermediate side, especially newbie side, admin only fields, super powerful. Zach, I'm going to let you take it away and tell us a little bit about it.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, thank you so much, Brad here. So I kind of went ham on like all the things that like I want to do when I first join an organization. So as a consultant, I'm in and out of organizations a lot, maybe half dozen or so per year that I'm going to be either setting up brand new or coming in as a fractional consultant and provide them with some help on the side. And so when I go in, I want to do the absolute best that I can to set myself up for success. So there's some admin only stuff that I'd want to set up. So stuff like, doing like setting your company information correct, like default time zones, setting up a new theme for the company, taking in their marketing approved like brands and brand colors and logos and everything, just to kind of make it theirs instead of just like that white Salesforce background with the cloud up in the upper left and everything. So just kind of make it theirs. It's a really nice quick win to come in. There's like session setting stuff like, disabling force relogin, disabling the enable secure and browser caching stuff so that, whenever you make a change as an admin and you refresh the page, the change immediately shows up. You don't have to wait for it to like recache and stuff. Setting up like special permission sets like audit fields on record creation, because when you're doing data migration and everything, you want to carry over the legacy created date and system mod date, the last modified date, stuff like that. Exporting reports, you want to remove that from every single profile that you have in your company and create a special permission set just for that, because the last thing that you want is a rep leaving the company and able to export your customer list and take them to your competitor. So just simple stuff like that I think is really important. Some special considerations are like establishing naming conventions early on, and so that you have like a consistent way that you're naming fields and referring to fields. Like for me, my naming convention is I always put a Z in front of any admin only field that I use, just because it's just an easy way to just sort the list. Was it descending or ascending on the field labels? And not on the label, what's customer facing, but on like the API, just put a Z there. And it makes it really easy to like, these are all my fields that I need to get to.
Now,
let's see here.
One thing I'll ask you there,
I could keep on going, but yeah, go ahead. Any questions?
Well, I'll ask you this. We've seen this, and a lot of folks here, and I've talked with all three of you about this, and a lot of folks in the chat too. I see a lot of people as they're ready to deprecate a field, or they think that, I don't use this field. They do ZZZ. So you just happen to be fortunate that your name starts with a Z. But
it's like a little my little stamp of I was here. It's the Z field. Yeah. So one thing that I use those Z fields or the Z naming convention a lot for is for reports. I always create all IDs reports for every single major object that I'm querying. So an all IDs report basically puts the case safe ID, and that's one of the fields, one of the special admin only fields that I create, is I do a formula field, case safe, open paren, ID, close paren, and that's it. And that gives me the case safe ID or the 18-digit Salesforce ID. That way, if I'm using an external system and it doesn't recognize case sensitive stuff, that I actually have the correct field there. And so I put those on the first line of, or the first column in any report that I do. I save those, the all IDs. So you're getting all accounts, all time, and then that first column is my IDs. And then I use that as kind of like my base report for any other custom reports that I would build. And what that also enables me to do is when I open up my data loader, I have all of the stuff that I absolutely need in order to match and do my inserts and or my upserts and everything like that. So that's a really important one. Another really important report would be an all users report. Another custom field that I create is on the user object. I create a full name field, so I concatenate first name and last name. That way, when you pull something in a data load, if it has like account owner on it, it's only going to show the name. It's not going to show the ID of it. And so I'm able to just do a VLOOKUP on, the full name, and I have that users report that I can export and do my matching that way for owner IDs. So
I love that. I know, Zach, I think you mentioned too, you've got a couple of links for some of the blogs you put out that share some of these tips. So I'm actually going to let you toss some of those into the chat for everybody to find out.
Sure.
But, that's fantastic. I think any of those early admin tips and tricks that you can do, and this goes for anybody that is day one in an org. Doesn't mean that you're day one as an admin, but day one in an org. These are foundational. Start doing these because they all build on each other. As you're doing more data loads, as you're doing more system integration, as you're taking care of users, or more importantly, making sure users don't export reports all the time and all that data. We don't want them to walk away with it. We're all highly sensitive security right now. Those are great foundational early signs. So I love it.
Yeah.
I dig it. Well, we're going to definitely drop some of those in there, by the way, Zach. We'd love to share those with everybody. So light up that chat and get everybody moving. I'm going to pass it over to old Trent and let us talk about some subscription management and Slack approvals. I think the cool thing, just to preface all this, watching, you posted about this actually about a month ago or so, Trent, about how you do some of the subscription management. And so I'm excited to see this in action. So I'll turn it over to you.
Yeah, I will say too, Zach, the other thing that I would highly suggest is turning off mass edits and reports. Definitely don't let people just go in there and start doing some mass editing. So if you don't have that toggled off, make sure that, again, it's its own permission set or something like that, because if it's on for one person, it's on for everybody. So just be careful with that too. So yeah, subscription management and Slack approvals. So I'm actually going to hit Slack approvals first because Eric and a few other people here were with me when we were like banging our head against the wall, like, okay, Slack's owned by Salesforce. There should be this like way to do approvals for opportunities via Slack, right? And we were stumping the Slack people. We were going to like World Tour days. We were going to Dreamforce. We were like, how do you do this? How do you do this? And they were like, I don't know, man. Like maybe in a flow, but then you would need Rattle or you would need this. So eventually, we kind of were beating our heads again, and me and our Salesforce admin, who I'm going to give a shout out to, Brian, we were clicking around and kind of stumbled into it. So basically, for those of you that would like to see something like this, let me make sure I'm moving the right one. All right, I'm going to share this. Maybe if does everybody see the shared screen?
Let's see. I'm update it now. There we go.
There it is. All right, cool. So basically, like you're going to have your approval processes built out, and the people that are here that are on the like step of the approval process, you want to make sure that they have the Slack permission and their permission sets. So there's actually permission sets on the user that have different Slack settings. And so you want to give them permission to, I think it's Slack V2 and one more thing. And then once you do that, you get them to download within Slack itself there is there's Salesforce for Slack. And once they download Salesforce for Slack, and then you have the approvals, your approval process is built out with the right person, and then they have the right settings, then you can set for the approvals to happen via Slack. And so it'll send, and you can set up in systems, like set up within Salesforce, what that approval looks like when it comes through, and then they can approve, deny, or send back. So super easy actually to get set up. And if anybody wants to know more, of course, reach out to me and we'll show you guys how to do it. That was a quick thing, but just to show you that it is actually a pretty simple process. It just seemed like it was a mystery for a long time. So yeah, that's approvals and Slacks. Eric, we figured it out. All right, so platform subscriptions. So we all know that everybody's money's a little tight these days, or at least being watched under a closer eye. Let's say that. If you had 12 months runway, that now has to be 18 or 24 months. And we all know that our number 2 spenders are people in software, right? So what are you doing to kind of keep up with, those software needs and what that cost is? How are you tracking that? How do you know that you don't have unused licenses or licenses to people that aren't using the tool? All that kind of stuff, because most of us have tools that are seat-based, right? Or something like that, right? So also for our compliance, since we're a financial operations platform, we have lots of different SOC and like security compliances. So us knowing who has access to what tools is also good for us to know, because we'll know what kind of information is in there. So we keep that up to date too. We want to make sure we have like a central database for that. And what's the best place to be a central database? If you're Salesforce. So we created this custom object called platform subscription. And so basically, first and foremost, it's going to be like the name of it. Are you guys still using it? Who owns that tool? So Sonar, I just thought I'd throw this one up there. So I manage that for the team. And then we have some roll-ups here of like number of. It also lets us know, do you sign in through single sign-on? Is there a Salesforce sign-on? That's really important to know. So when you go to deprovision users, will me just plugging them out of Gmail and Salesforce keep them out of this tool, or is there another way to get into it? And we have something here, we did stub processor. That's like, does it contain our customers' information within this tool, which is another level of security. So we have that in there as well. Then you have stuff like contract and start and end dates. And then we have like account manager, CSM. So if you need to reach out to them, that's stored in there so anybody can go in. Can I zoom in? See if that, can I zoom in? I don't know. Can I zoom in for me? I'm sure. Wait.
Control plus.
Oh, here we go.
Control up scroll. Yeah.
I never have to zoom in because I got big eyes. So then we have like here. So we do like your annual fee, like your total cost, and then if it's subscription based fee or seat per cost. And this is actually text area, something we're still working on to get a little more dynamic. And then you have your people you can reach out to, right? So for this one, I went ahead and removed our annual cost and seat per cost because I didn't think it'd be good to be showing out there what we pay for Sonar. And then something also that we do are audits. And I'll go into the audits here in just 1 second. But we also now have started internal tech surveys to say like, are you enabled on the tool? Do you like the tool? Is it meeting your needs? So we're starting to send those out and start getting feedback from internal employees about how the tool is working for them, so that RevOps knows when you start looking for another tool or not. So it stamps when that survey was sent, and then eventually we're going to build out like survey results in here as well. But so right here is the audit stuff. So we do audits every quarter. And what'll happen is when an audit's ready, it triggers, and then that owner of the tool gets a thing say, hey, you need to audit all your users. Make sure that everyone that has a license is in there and those that aren't in there, right? And so you get an email, it goes to the person that's automated within Salesforce to send out that email, and it will trigger every day until that audit is done. So you will get a new email every day saying, go in there, do your survey. And then so in our related, so you have like our button here, it's audit subscription record. You can click into that. And then you're going to see like, okay, I audited it, it's done, completed or not, right? And then we have another custom object that is related. So that this would be like the child to it. So the audits themselves, and then platform users, and then files. So files here, I also took this off just for this showing, but we would have our current contract in here. stamped in here. So now finance has access to every contract. If you're renewing, you're going to have every contract. Everything's right there for you. And then you have your platform users, right? And so within your platform users, you have another custom object called platform user. They relate to the subscription. And so we'll click into mine here. You see that I'm active. You can do all kinds of things here. We have like, are you a system admin? Do I want to do a single survey send to you? What date was it provisioned? Start just kind of like general basic stuff. But basically the biggest thing here is status. Are you active, inactive? Or is it pending, meaning that they've requested it? Or that. So when you go into remove stuff or need something done, you can kind of pull here your employee end date, right? So the reason why this is good and we have pending is this is tied to our Jira. So in Jira, what will happen is you can come into our help desk for IT. You can come in here to request a tool or access. You can come in here and you can put in what kind of tools you want, right? Then you hit send. And then once you do that, we have automation that will create this platform user, but as a status of pending. And when that happens, the manager of that tool gets an email saying, hey, this person's requested access. They would like it mirrored in the way that this person has it. Can you go ahead and activate it? And when you activate it, you switch it on to active, the tool's there. So that's keeping up with your seats, getting people provisioned, doing all of that great stuff within there. Another little fun thing that we're still building out, but kind of in the works, is that when you get 3 months out of this renewal date, it will trigger an email to RevOps and to the owner of the tool saying, hey, you're 3 months out. You need to go ahead and start working on that renewal because you'll get a better deal if you start sooner. And go ahead and start, getting that renewal done. So that's kind of what we built out. It works fairly well. I mean, every automation has its kinks, but once you get it figured out, it's really good. So once we go and we actually have a ticket in Jira that says I need to deprovision a user, aka like they're offboarded. Once that ticket comes through, it'll trigger every one of these platform subscriptions or users and say, hey, manager, this person has this tool. You need to go to deprovision them today. Like they are out as of 4:00 today. Boom, you need to go to deprovision them. So it's like that too. And we've been working on when a new hire comes on, like a base set of tools kicking off. But we've had some changes within our like internal email store merge and stuff that we're kind of behind on that. But yeah, that's our Flip and Scrap platform subscription and platform user custom objects.
I love it. I'll tell you, man. It's first of all, thank you for sharing that. That's so
that
good.
was impressive.
I love it. I think as we transition over to Matt, a couple of things that I'll add on to that, Trent. And I think this is so important. We've all been there, right? In these current worlds we're in, or in previous lives, we've all stepped into a new role. We don't know what systems you have access to. We don't know what systems we don't have. Like it's always this Pandora's box that ends up exploding on your desk on day one when you become a new admin. So for you to even do this already, and for anybody you bring into your organization new, they are already light years ahead because they know what tools they have, who to go to as the owner for them, when they renew, what the price is. I can only imagine the high fives you get from your finance team as well for thank you for staying diligent about this. I know I'll be passing this hack over to Mitchell on our team who manages all of our technology. So this is going to be a hack that he's going to start putting in place. So thank you for sharing.
Absolutely. Thanks
Matt,
for having me.
I've been waiting on this one. I actually got a sneak peek of this earlier. Is it this week or last week whenever we hung out, Matt? And so,
yeah, I think so.
All my days are blurring together. So I'm excited to see this again. This was fantastic when Matt was showing earlier. So let me get you onto the screen and I'll let you take it away.
Okay, so I'm going to zoom in because it seems like we've got a lot of people with bad eyes in the chat. So hopefully this is good enough. But I'm going to start with, so we have two record types as a little bit of background for this. One is called sad sales. The other one is called happy sales. So right now we are on sad sales. And the entire like premise of like dynamic forms and what I'm going to be showing here is starting with like the normal layout that you would run into with this, that a salesperson would run into, which is something similar to this, where you have a bunch of fields on one screen. Maybe we tried to put them, sectioned off a little bit, but overall, like as a salesperson, I don't know where to go, what to do, what to put in, what's next. If I go forward in any stage, I have no idea what I'm doing. And this can be a little confusing for some salespeople. So what we do with dynamic forms is we try to actually make this user experience a little bit easier, a little bit better. So this is, SAD sales layout. This is very similar to what probably a lot of people have seen, and especially in consulting, when we onboard with a new client or we are like trying to do a Salesforce revamp, we see a lot of layouts like this, 2 columns, maybe one super, large like this, not a lot of information filled out, and not super efficient. So I'm going to go and do happy sales here. And you can add emojis into record type labels and labels everywhere else. So I just wanted to show that here. I don't do it too much because I probably wouldn't make my clients too happy, but every single chance I can, I'll use an emoji somewhere. So something to call out. And then we'll save. Okay. So all I did there, by the way, was just change the record type. So now we're in a different Lightning page. So starting at the top, we are on prospecting on this opportunity. And as you can see from the previous layout, this is much more clean. So it's very succinct. We have a few fields and things that are popped up here in opportunity information. I have deal notes right here, knowing the next step is he wants pizza. And then I have a few things, around the layout that it can mostly fit on one screen. So if I wasn't zoomed in, this would fit really nicely into one screen. So the rep knows exactly what they need to do, exactly where they are at what stage of the opportunity. A couple things to call out before I go into like the little neat things that we've got here are the quick action. So this quick action right here where it says account information, this is something that's been around for a while, but this is a way to just quickly surface information about this account right on the opportunity to save people clicks. So if constantly like they're changing certain fields or whatever at the opportunity level, or they're going back to the account to change a few things, this is a great place to do that. And it's also a good place just to display some information. And then bringing up with what Zach had said about admin only fields, this section right here is visible to me because I'm a system administrator. But if a rep were to log in, they would not see this admins only section. And this is a good place to put audit fields or system information fields, integration fields just for you, so that only like admins can see it. So we're going to roll straight into a couple neat things. So upgrade information section right on the right. If this is a part of your process, I don't know. That's not really like the big, talking point here, but it's just to show kind of what's possible. So like if we had an opportunity process where if a customer was interested in upgrade, I would hit this checkbox and then it would give me, a pick list of what tier of upgrade and give me a little bit of information about that. And I save it. Also, don't want to forget about our partner friends. If we have a partner attributed opportunity and we say like, hey, at some point we realize this was partner attributed, I can click this checkbox and save. And then a partner section will roll up on the right where I can add like the company and then some notes there, and you can probably do better notes than this. And so that's like basically just a way to do checkboxes essentially within conditional visibility and opening up things within an opportunity as soon as you check a box that allows you to need that information at that point. So we'll advance the stage here to qualification. And so this is this layout or like design choice is something from somebody within our company who is very smart with layout and design. And I think this is a really unique idea. So I'll do it again just so everybody can see it again. But once I move to qualification, this opportunity information section moves down one, and then the next relevant fields will pop up again. So this for a demo, there's probably going to need to be more at the qualification stage, but for this process, we've designated customer success, and that information is needed for moval or to be able to move to the proposal, price, and quote stage. So now we have that here. We'll move to proposal, price, and quote now, and you'll see again customer success gets moved down, and then the contract information stuff gets moved up. Another thing you'll notice is a screen flow. So I'm going to zoom out a little bit right here, but on the right where it says request a reference, this is a screen flow that's on the Lightning page that is conditional when I hit proposal, price, and quote. So I'll do that again, and you'll see this pops up. So this is a pretty common use case where like people are commonly asking for a reference within an opportunity. So if I'm thinking about purchasing something, I typically say like, hey, do you have any, any other customers that are like me that you could reference or that that you could reference? This is a way to do that. So I added a couple contacts where, if I wanted to reference Master Chief, Princess Zelda, and my mom, I could hit submit. And then, there's some stuff in the back end that would do that. So it's a way to like make the reference process for reps much easier. And then as we go forward and negotiate and review or negotiation review, again, more stuff pops up. And then once we close one, again, emojis, a big woo, and then the layout changes a bit too. So we hide that screen flow, and then we move opportunity information up to the top, and then we just keep these sections inline in the bottom. So the biggest win for this, I think, for like admins joining, new consultants when they're onboarding a new client, a lot of times the biggest thing and the most impactful change you can make quickly is a change to the layout and to the user experience. So a contrast from close one or from negotiation review versus prospecting when we first start an op, as the rep goes through these processes of changing the stage and going through their sales process, this really delivers the right information at the right time to them in a way that's really functional and provides you like the best data quality. So you're not going to run into issues with data quality, or hopefully you won't, because people are going to be like, oh, well, I'm in qualification. So that means I just need to figure out my customer success stuff, maybe figure out if I need to auto renewal. And if at some point it becomes partner attributed or I need to, do some upgrade information, I still have those components there. And yeah, that's pretty much the front end. Brad, did you want me to go over the lightning page stuff too?
Flip over to the lightning page stuff for sure. One thing, just to add a comment to it while you're pulling that up, we've all been there. We've felt this as we've helped our go-to-market teams, whether it's sales, success, marketing, finance, back office, anybody. We know how short attention spans can be at times. And we've all had to be there. Oh, share my screen real quick. All right, scroll all the way down. Go about, another mile or two down the page. There's that field, or Command F and find that field. I love the way you put this together, Matt, because it keeps everything pertinent to that stage, where we are in that journey, at the top of the page. Like, people have no choice but to say, unless you're zoomed in so much that you have to scroll half an inch down to see some of those fields, you should be able to see those right when you load that page, which is where our customers, i.e. our go-to-market teams, want to be met. Give me that stuff right at the very beginning. Let me go fill it in and get back to my day.
One of the things that I've noticed has been really helpful about this is it reduces the need for validation rules. And so reps can scroll through and go through their ops much, much faster, much more conveniently. And you always want to have like an exit criteria or entry to move into the next one. We'll just fill in that top section and you're good to go. And it basically takes care of your need for the validation rule.
Yep.
Totally.
Yeah, and this has been like the creativity surrounding this layout is like one of the benefits also of being in consulting, because we have a lot of people that we can bounce ideas off of. And like this combination of like screen flows and the layouts and just like trial and error with a lot of our customers has allowed us to like really land on something simple to this. So it's the environment we're in allows us to basically come up with stuff like this. And this is the best. This is for me, is I learned this from somebody else within our team. It's the best layout that I've seen and the easiest one that, like, in terms of dynamic forms and its usability, it's kind of crazy.
Totally.
So going into dynamic forms, this is like, if you're doing a dynamic form correctly, I think you're going to see a lot of little eyes around. So every single one of these where you see a little orange eye, that means that there's like some condition that it's not going to be showing unless you meet that condition. So it's really simple to set up. So like for this woo thing, I have like set component visibility, just, record stage equals closed one. One thing that you'll notice too is I have two opportunity information sections. So the first one on the top here and the other one at the bottom here. That's kind of like how I was able to do the opportunity information now is at the top, because this opportunity information component is only visible if the stage equals closed one. And then this opportunity information component is only visible. We'll go back down to this one. Only visible if the stage is not equal to closed one. So this allows us to like move things around over the course of time. If like you want something to be up at the top now because it's closed one, it's the most important information. You want it to be at the bottom, whatever you want. And then you can also do all this conditional visibility by profile. So that admin section I had brought up right here, that's just user profile name equals system administrator. So if a rep were to log in, they wouldn't see this. So it's just a pretty simple thing to put together. And then the quick action, like we all probably know, we need to create a quick action at the account. And then the update action is what we'll be referencing. And this one's called account information. and then a screen flow element where I just place my screen flow reference flow right on the top here.
So good. I love it. And I love the walk through the back end too. I know everybody. It's funny watching even Trent. He was like, "Ooh, let me zoom in right here for myself and see what we're looking at." So I love it, Matt. While you're sharing, I know we're right at 35 minutes in. Perfect time to start getting a few of these Q&A knocked out. I'm going to add this one from Jeremy actually, who obviously stole it from Eric, but. Will you go back and while you're sharing your screen, how'd you get those emojis in your record type? Because I know you and I looked at that earlier, but that'd be a great hack to show everybody.
Yep. So let me just show you. Let's go to object record types, and we'll go to just happy sales here. Edit. And literally, so on Windows, it's Windows key period. On Mac, I think you can right click and then choose emoji.
Hey Matt, the screen, if you're trying to share it with us, is still locked on the hop.
There we go.
Oh, there we go.
Yeah. Let me go back and show what I did there. I went to opportunity, and then I did record types here, and then just go to your record type label, hit edit, and then what I was showing is Windows key period for Windows. And then if you right click, and I think it's like emojis and symbols or something like that in Mac, it'll pop up this little thing here. Just literally choose the emoji you want. So I don't know, let's do something fun like a snake or a heart. I don't know, a puppy.
I assume you have the sonar submarine as one of your saved emojis, right? Just throw that in. Okay.
Yeah. Oh, you know what? I totally do. You're right.
You probably do. Now that he says that, he actually probably hasn't.
Yeah, I probably do.
There's
Go ahead.
No, please continue.
No, I was going to say this is just fun. Like the emojis and the labels, you can do this with any field, and you can do this with like in a lot of areas. Yep. Jackie would probably be able to tell people more about emojis with her extensive use with them in some orgs. So it's definitely a thing to. She is, yeah.
Yeah, and there's another way to spread delight with your teams when they're working. If I can steal the screen for 2 seconds.
Yeah, I'll stop.
I think Eric Lopez inspired me to do this, but we have a screen flow that does for like nurture, qualify, assign, and then depending on what path they land on, they'll end up coming in here and they'll getting some type of like GIF or emoji like this one. Just kind of a surprise of like, hey, this worked for you. Here's something different. And you can switch them up. You can change them out. And it's always a little bit different. I think this one says, on to the next. Business cat approves. But like little fun things like that can make your the people in the Salesforce org, have little Easter eggs, or if, you can really have fun with the Easter eggs and you can target one person to make it happen to them only, or things like that. So you can have some fun on the back end too, while also making other people's day brighter.
Totally. I will tell you, as an end user, when I find those little Easter eggs in any application I'm using, I love it. One of those first ones, this was years ago, well before even Sonar, when Jack and I were working at a different company called Gather. Somebody had this bright idea. This is before we ever saw it before. Right when you get an action done in our app, just throw a little bit of confetti on there. And candidly, when we built it, we didn't think anybody would like get that excited about it. We got more customer feedback about, we love the confetti. I'm like, that's what gets you guys excited? Great. So, but those Easter eggs are super fun. I'm going to start shifting into some of these fun, like rapid fire questions. We're going to give a little bit of a softball one. We were talking about Jackie a second ago and all things emojis and all things wonderful about Jackie. But I am curious for everybody here, what are your favorite Chrome extensions that you're using on a daily basis?
Can I show y'all one? Can I show you guys one?
Totally.
Yeah.
So I don't want to give them free press, I guess, but like, it's just, let me see if it's on this browser. Hold on one second. Yeah. It's called Maven Tools.
Yeah. You and I were looking at it earlier.
Yeah. Let me open up a different browser here really quick. It's on my work one.
Totally.
Let's get into.
While you're pulling that up, Trent, Zach, any hot
Chrome apps? Sure do. Let me show you.
Everybody's
2 seconds.
Yeah.
Salesforce Inspector for all you admins out there.
Maven Tools is just like it.
Oh, it is. You can log in as a user. So like if I needed to come in and say like I need to emulate, I can click in. Oops, overshared. But you can go and you can like log in as them, see different things. But even better is like if you go and you put in a record, it'll show you every field that is associated with it, whether it's on a page layout or not. So you can do searches for like the different fields without having to, pull a different report or something like that. Just gives you really quick access to everything about that record that's available.
Yeah.
I love that.
My favorite one is well, there's two. Salesforce Change Set Helper is amazing. What it does is it gives you like the last modified date or the last change date, and you can sort and search and all kinds of stuff, and it bubbles all the important changes that you made in a sandbox to the top. So as long as you know when your last change set occurred, any other changes that happen there, it tells you what you need to add. So that's really nice. And then another one for me that's been very helpful since I'm going in and out of so many orgs is the colored fave icons one.
Yes.
So what it does is it changes the color of the fave icon on the browser tab based on which org you're in. And if you're in a sandbox, it has a little S on the inside, or if it's like a developer one, it's a DX up there.
That's such a good one.
Super nice.
I love that. Yeah, fave icons, I'll tell you, I used to use that back in the consulting days. If I didn't have a different color for every org I was in, I was upside down. It's like, what org am I in and why am I in it again? So very good. Matt, go for it.
So it's like Salesforce Inspector. So I've got Salesforce Inspector on this side right here, but I also use like Maven Tools a little bit more. And so it allows you to do some of the similar stuff as Salesforce Inspector, but if Salesforce Inspector is Salesforce Classic, I think Maven Tools is Salesforce Lightning. And I know for some people that'll probably make their eye twitch. For me, I think I really like Salesforce Lightning. I'm sorry, it's like an unpopular opinion. But it does a couple things. So
that.
Yeah, I just like the way things look. So for me, like I'm in a record right now. So I just opened up that lead record and y'all can still see this, right?
Oh yeah.
Okay, good. So if I type record type here or let me see if we have like a lead record type or not. Let me actually go to an opportunity here. So if I were to want to change the record type of one of our opportunities, and we'll do record type ID. I don't need to know the record type ID to actually change it. So like with Salesforce Inspector, or if you were to do anything else, like if I wanted to really quickly change it, all I would need to do in this case, like just type consulting, do that, and then it would automatically populate the record type ID. And in orgs where we have like 6, 7, 8 record types, you're like, what's that ID again? I need to change it to that one. I can actually go here and just immediately very quickly change it, especially if the record type is not on the layout. Another really interesting thing about like object details too is you can select an object, so like do a count, and then I can just do like if I want to like answer the quick question of how many accounts in our system have account tier populated, I would just hit show usage, and it looks like 46 with 3% of our accounts. Or if I wanted to see like, we need to fix that actually, Jesus.
Wow.
Yeah, we do. But if I wanted to do,
is this tool free?
Yeah, it's free. I mean, like I said, I'm not trying to give them like free press, but like
I'm going to download right now.
It's actually really good because like I can do really quick things like that. So being in a lot of orgs with clients, it's like they ask real quick, I don't know how many records are actually using that field. Like rather than doing a report and all this other stuff and trying to use other tools, I just pop this open and I go to the field and I can say like show usage, and we can like see billing longitude. I'm not saying that right. Whatever is used by nobody. So so this is like this is super helpful. Other stuff here like SQL query editors, you can debug logs, you can do like REST console, like light dev work, like Apex stuff. But for the most part, this is probably for me the most used tool. I think it's like Salesforce Inspector on steroids and allows us to do a lot of things
Totally.
in a much easier way.
Yeah, especially at that record level side of things, like you were talking about, especially seeing those IDs, it's super helpful. All right, I've got one last question, and then before we actually ask it, I'll remind everybody, you might see this, look at the top of your screen. There's this little lounge button. Look, it's Wednesday afternoon. We're getting close to happy hour time, at least here on the East Coast. So if you want to hang out and also just join in on this conversation, we'll head over to the lounge for anybody that wants to go join. Virtual happy hour time, no judgment zone. Bring a beer, bring a coffee, bring whatever you want. But we'll hang out there. But one real last question. I love this. Is a little bit more on the learning side of things. And Matt, thank you for asking it. But besides Trailhead, look, we've all learned some of these skill sets in a lot of different mediums, a lot of different sites out there that we all love. But besides Trailhead, what is your advice for someone who's wanting to learn more and get better at building flows? Who's going to jump first?
So this is a kind of a cop-out answer, but like when I was learning flow, I was afraid of them, and it was mostly like a popular process builder was really popular at the time, and it's what we were used to. But someone had told me that flow was the future, and that person's much smarter than me. So I was like, you're probably right. And I just started going in and breaking things. So it's not the sexiest answer, but I broke so much, and I would build flows that would do weird stuff and run into errors and all this other stuff, and just hands-on figuring it out, and then Googling and going on Reddit and going to forums and just asking people and LinkedIn and connecting with people and be like, hey, you have a role that's very similar to mine in this company. Like, can you help me with this? Those are probably the best ways to learn flow. I mean, Trailhead's great, but the best way is to go in and be like, I want to do this thing. Let me Google it. Let me look at a YouTube video. Let me do Reddit. And then let me go actually reach out to people and ask them for help, because every single person within RevOps is going to help you. It's like, we're all nerds about this stuff. We all love it. It's something that we really love. So like, if you were to ask me a question about a flow you wanted to build, I would definitely make time for it, because that's just, to me, is interesting. And it takes me away from some of the monotony of my job, which, some of my colleagues are here, but yes, the job gets monotonous sometimes. So
totally. We're here for it. Don't worry. I will say I completely agree with you. I definitely want to hear from Zach and Trent, but I think the reality, even when I was learning flows, and this goes for any sort of new programming type mentality that you're thinking about in Salesforce, you can get really far with Trailhead, but man, you can get so much further with a buddy. So sign somebody up with you, like have somebody already in your camp that can just be like, hey, Trent, you got 5 minutes. Anybody on WizOps is ready to help. But like, hey man, you have 5 minutes to review this flow. I'm getting stuck here. Zach's going to do it. Matt's going to do it. Jackie will do it. Lopez will do it. So many folks in the community that will help, but find a buddy. I completely agree with you. But yeah, Trent, Zach, would love to hear on your side. How do you start to learn about this?
I'm a jump in and break it kind of person, but yeah, I don't think this can say any better than Matt. You got Reddit, you have searches, you have all that, but ultimately, Brad, you know how I feel about Wizard of Oz and how I talk about it all the time. But if you're stuck, drop it in there, man. There would be 5-6 people that'll show you 5 or 6 different ways to get it done. And eventually you'll find people that personally you jive with a little bit more, and like you like how they work, and those are the people you go to more often and start build those relationships. And then next thing you know, they're helping you, like, hey, how did you solve this? And then we kind of worked on this, da 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 da. And it kind of starts building this really collaborative group, which is what WizOps is all about, but it's truly in practice. And my thing is, don't beat your head against the wall if you can't figure out a flow. Literally go ask people. I think Zach and I jumped in and tried to figure something out, recently-ish. And it was like both of us like, what the F? And then like clicked, So little things like that go a long way. Like, you're not in a silo. You might feel like it a lot of days, but there's a lot of people out there feeling the same and want to just chat and work through something.
Preach.
Yeah.
Right there. You're right.
Well, I'm going to echo what the other two guys here said. I owe pretty much my entire ops career to the Wizard of Ops community. Got started, asked for help, jumped in with both feet, started answering questions that I probably shouldn't have answered, acting as if. But I mean, taking a chance, taking action, being willing to appear dumb is just that's a huge thing, because I mean, we're all dumb until you learn it, and if you haven't learned it yet, you are by definition dumb. So don't be afraid to ask for help. Find yourself a mentor, as Trent was saying, somebody that you jive with, somebody that like is willing to kind of bust your chops and you have fun with it. And, you know, at the end of the conversation, even though you're just like slamming your head on your keyboard, just like, oh my gosh, can I just not get it? Why? And it's just like, yeah, you go and, you know, if you don't live near them, but if you were traveling in the area, you would go and grab a beer with them. So that's a big thing. Another thing that I wanted to talk about, if I had enough time, was about packaging and creating unmanaged packages. I mean, there's so many times where we're basically reinventing the wheel. And so one way that you can learn flows is ask for somebody to package a flow for you, install it in a sandbox, and study what they did and why they were doing it. That might be another way to dig in.
Such a good point. A lot of the stuff that I've learned with flow has been just looking at other people's flows and like putting it in my brain and never letting go of it, because it's like I've seen some really unique stuff over the course of time that's just I would never have been able to think of it on my own. I don't have the creativity for it, but it just might be that thing is what that person who built it is like, that's their specialty. And I've learned a lot from just pulling things and bits and pieces from people and iterating on it and making it my own.
That's it. I'll tell you, everybody needs a starting place, and it's hard. Sometimes hitting that first button or hitting that first node or getting that first idea is the hardest. Look at somebody else's work. It's perfectly fine as long as they're willing to share it. Don't go steal it from anybody, of course. But there's also this great little new thing called ChatGPT, which, believe it or not, is one of our next webinars we're going to put up here about how, as ops folks, we're starting to leverage this type of technology. Actually, all three of these guys already know this. We built it into our platform already, so we're already leveraging it fully. I'll show some of that in the lounge. How about that? We'll give a teaser for anybody that wants to see it in the lounge. But I agree. It's going to be a next wave of an evolution, but it's also a starting point. So similar to flows, don't bang your head against the wall to find a starting point. There's a lot of places out there that you can find one for yourself. So, all right, gentlemen, can't thank you enough for jumping on. It's a little bit longer of a webinar today, but man, it was great. Can't thank you enough, Trent, Zach, Matt, sharing all your ideas. This is fantastic. We are going to get a lot of these published, and so we'll get these out to everybody in the community. You'll see them in some newsletters. But more importantly, just for our good friend Lopez, I'm going to open up this lounge, virtual happy hour drinks, duration. We're going to set it for, 45 minutes. Actually, we'll set it for 60. Eric might be in there forever. So I just opened the lounge. You should see a lounge button in there. If you don't, let me know. Jackie's like, lounge me. You should be able to see it. If you can't, let me know, but we're going to get in there. It looks like 2 people are already in. So we're going to switch over, and I will see everybody on the other side. Matt, Trent, Zach, as always, thank you. Talk to you guys soon. Everybody else, thank you for joining.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
Thanks, everybody. See ya.
Bye.